the more you observe animals, the more concern you have for them. So people who observe animals are the ones who tend to have more concern, and people who use animals but never actually look at them have less concern. So the amount of time you actually look at the animal has a significant effect on your view of the value of the animal and our obligations to the animal. So there is a question of the extent of empathy. So to what extent do you put yourself in the position of the animal? To what extent do you imagine the life of the animal as if it were your life? So empathy is an important thing in relation to attitudes to animals, and some people have a lot of empathy for animals, and the more you look at them, the more you have, I think. But there are also a lot of people. I mean, I know people who study animals who look at them as machines more than individuals.
Even though they look at them a lot.
Yeah.
And they spend time.
Yeah.
With them.
So there are people who work with animals who, and to some extent, people do that in order that they can do the work. So if you are doing a study which involves you keeping 100 animals and infecting them with a pathogen in order to look at the development of the disease, you actually have to think about the animal in a bit more remote way in order to do something like that. I mean, some people who do research with animals think of the animals as a means to achieving something rather than as individuals that they should be concerned about. At the time when people who had animals usually had only a few, they would know them as individuals.
Yeah.
Then when they had, if you have 100,000 chickens, the person with 100,000 chickens thinks of them as a sort of means of something which will grow and become a meat or lay eggs, whatever, whichever way, depending whether it's a laying hen farm or a broiler meat farm. So there's been then a phase of people having a large number of animals, and then they are less concerned. Nobody would be allowed to write it in a scientific publication 40 years ago. Nobody, if you wrote it, you would be in danger of not getting another job because you will be regarded as not a scientist. And now you are allowed to talk about emotions and feelings in animals, and it is possible to do it. But there's a significant disadvantage to doing it. So I feel that all of the animal welfare scientists who have used words like feelings and emotions are not accepted very well in the scientific community now.
Because you'd use it as well. No?
Yes, and I'm not accepted in the scientific community. It's very difficult to be accepted if you say something like that. So it's still a dangerous thing to do. And I think that our understanding of animals has been significantly harmed by the fact that you weren't allowed to attribute high-level capabilities to animals. So concepts like awareness and awareness, consciousness, feelings, emotions, and individual ones, even things like pain, fear, anxiety, happiness, pleasure, you weren't allowed. It's still very suspect to say that about animals, although the general public does it, but scientists don't.
And was it for you then some kind of hunch where you're like, no, animals have emotions? Like, how did you come to that conclusion?
Because the scientific evidence was so clear that they were not just automatic, if you like. I mean, actually, if you look carefully at the scientific information, I can't see how you could come to a conclusion that they don't. And when I say animals, it's not all animals. We don't have any evidence that sea anemones have emotions, or don't really have evidence at all that insects have emotions. So at the moment, we are using the word sentient, and sentient means having the capability to have feelings and emotions. And so that would be all the vertebrates and certain invertebrate animals like octopus, cuttlefish, squid, crabs, lobsters, a few animals, probably some other mollusks, but we're not sure of that.